Welcome back. And with me is Billy Meade, sales representative with RCIS, Rural Community Insurance Services. And Billy, we've seen extreme weather all over the country. You just came back from a long meeting in Minneapolis or Anoka, Minnesota, and had an opportunity to talk to many people. Can you kind of give us an update on what's going on in the country with crops and things like that?
Sure. We have a diversified group that we work with. We have reps in every state across the country. RCIS is one of the few national carriers out there. So we have representation across all the United States. And, we came together to discuss the agricultural segment, what's going on in different places, from the floods that are in the northern plain areas, how much rain they've had, and the flooding of the Missouri River, the Mississippi River, and how that carried on and affected some of the areas of western Kentucky, some of the Mississippi Delta area. And then when you also compare that with the drought that's going on in Texas right now, an unprecedented drought that's going on there, some places in Alabama having some severe drought, North Carolina as well. It's really a diversified weather pattern that we're seeing across the United States right now. So it's good to have insurance. We think it's going to be a challenging year going forward as we face an unprecedented amount of claims coming in. We're staffing up for it, getting prepared for it. So it's really a diversified year for crop insurance for agents such as yourself. Again, we're in 50 states, and you have a concentration here in Ohio to deal with the crops in Ohio, but we're looking at it from a national scale. There's just a tremendous amount of work to do out there, but we're staffed up and ready to take on the challenge.
Billy, you mentioned in 50 states and, very diversified. There's a lot more than just corn and soybeans grown in this great country of ours.
Yeah, even here in Ohio as well. I mean, we have everything from apples to, I was in California a couple of years ago, and we insure figs. I had no idea what a fig was, so I actually got to go out there and look at it. And it's just one of the many crops that we insure. Everything from figs to corn, soybeans, wheat, clams. It's amazing the diversified crops that we have out there. And quite a bit, Ohio is a good representation. We have cranberries up north, close to the lake. We have apples. Just a diverse crop here in the middle of Ohio that you wouldn't expect.
When we're talking about the extreme weather, I guess, we've had conversation about some parts of the country had extreme wet weather, and now we're going into extreme drought. What are some of your counterparts telling you about what the crops actually look like in? If I'm in, let's say I'm in Illinois or, the breadbasket of the United States, what are they telling you about crop conditions as a general rule as you're seeing as we're taping this today?
Early on, let's say a month ago, everyone across the country were really worried about how we're going to get the crop in the ground. We were looking at preventive plantings of 30, 40, 50%. Preventive planting across this mid-eastern section of the United States. We're also we've been looking here lately. Luckily, we got some good weather to clear up, so we got most of it in the ground. So we're looking at maybe 15% preventive planting. We got it in the ground. Hopefully, the crop will come up. We'll have some warm weather. It'll be pretty good yields and some good revenue returns from it. But across the country, we've seen just a huge diversification of people that were able to get it in the ground, some other areas, and some rain patterns that prevented it in the breadbasket states and Nebraska and some of those in the I states, Illinois, Indiana, etc. So we feel lucky that we got the crop in the ground that we have today. Now we're just keeping our fingers crossed, hoping for good yields and a good result from the crops. So we were lucky.
Billy, I was just in Washington, D.C. A couple of days last week for a meeting. We drove out and drove back and all through Ohio, through West Virginia, and then into Maryland. The first field of corn that I saw tasseling was in Maryland. It appears to me that the crop is going to be delayed on development and didn't see any outstanding crops, if you would, in that whole trek across the eastern part of the country. What are you kind of seeing, and the people that you work with, the farmers and agents that you work with, or that RCS works with, kind of feedback they giving you?
It's really similar, and I'm glad you got to take that trip because we're seeing the same things. We work with a diversified group, not only agents, but agents are also our producers, our farmers. A lot of the guys that we work with actually spend a lot of time in the field, from our adjusting staff to some of the different service people throughout the company. They're all involved with agriculture. And everyone's reporting back, we're seeing a lot of planting delays this year. We got stuff in the ground that we were fortunate, I think, to get into the ground. But again, just a general rule of thumb across this part of the United States, it's just a lot of planting delays. We think it'll be a good crop by the end of it, and we're staffed up from our loss adjustment and claim side to make sure that if there are any issues with it coming to harvest or with the revenue side of it, we'll make sure to take care of the farmers and the producers. Again, RCIS is very devoted to the agricultural community, very devoted to the farmers in America, and we extend that through our people and our service to the customers. So as a matter of fact, 2 weeks ago I was up in Oak Harbor, Ohio, and Galen Kepke and Barry Cochran were up there, and there are a couple agents with us, but they're also farmers as well, and they were really concerned. Galen was pacing around the office wondering if he was going to be able to get his soybeans in the ground or not. He finally worked it. He left our meeting early and got out and planted the soybeans, so that was a good day for him. And we got some stuff accomplished in the meeting as well. So just again, a diversification of different planting time frames throughout this year, a lot of challenges to face. So I'm glad that we're able to service the community and service the agricultural avenues that we can. So also a couple weeks back, I was with the Kentucky sales rep Dan, and we went down to Western Kentucky and looked at some of the flood damage from the rivers that had swelled up during the time. And we're looking at what the farmers and agriculture community is going to do for those fields and those stricken areas, how they can get a crop in the ground, and what we can do to help them assist, because they have a lot of replant claims, a lot of preventive planting because the river came up and took it away. So just a lot of challenges that again are facing the community, the agricultural aspects. But it is the driving engine for the United States, so I'm really happy to be a part of it. And I think all the staff at RCIS is happy to be involved with it and protecting America's future through agriculture.
Well, one other neat thing you were just kind of showing me just a second ago is all the apps that are available. If you're an iPhone geek.
Yeah, we have an app for that. So a couple things that we have, like for the iPhone itself, is we have the mobile agent. So for you were able to come out to the field, turn in notice of losses, look up the status of claims, everything else on the iPhones. And for agents and for producers, we can actually take those through an iPad. You'll never have to print anything out. You can get it on an iPad. You can run all of our software on an iPad now. So again, we pride ourselves on being the technology leader and coming up with some new innovations to allow your job to be easier, to allow the producers' reporting to be easier, and to allow them access to all their information, which not a lot of people have.
Well, Billy, there's a whole lot of wealth of information, and there's one place that a guy can find just about everything that he needs to know about RCIS.
Yes, just go to www.rcis.com. And from there, you'll see links to agricultural updates. You'll see links for agents. You'll see the agent locator where you can find an agent near you if you don't already have a qualified agent like yourself. So just a lot of information can be garnished from that website.
Billy, thanks for being with us.
Thank you. I appreciate your time.
We'll be back with more right after this.
For more information about today's show or to suggest a topic, fax, call, or email us today